a metaphor for color. Not so long ago, autism was not at all understood in general society. Those on the autism spectrum were mostly viewed as quirky, weird or nerdy, and sadly they were often considered the misfits of society. Building good relationships has always been a huge challenge for me, but luckily for me I had a broad set of shoulders and was seen as good-looking, and from time to time the fairer sex would show an interest in me. Part 1. Time. Many years ago, before people truly understood what autism was, I was simply described as quirky, loud, inappropriate, and distant in crowds, yet comforting one-to-one. But I was also Mr. Encyclopaedia. These combinations, along with my physical appearance, made me appealing to a small group of members of the opposite sex. Eventually, one of them wanted to be in a relationship with me. They fell in love with what they perceived as my unique ability to foresee the domino effect of choices they would make, particularly in spheres like budgeting, finance, and pattern recognition. My memory allowed me to navigate any side street to avoid traffic in the days before GPS was commonplace. They didn't mind that I didn't seem to know how to dress correctly or that I walked in a way that looked like a cross between a march and a dance. However, they would also witness me almost melt down if they arranged to meet me at 2 p.m. and instead arrived at 2:06 p.m. They thought this was some sort of quirk out of which I might grow. They couldn't understand that without a set time, the set time became meaningless, and I was left standing there as each minute that passed felt like 30. What if they don't come? Should I adjust my plans? That leaves our lunch schedule reduced from 90 minutes down to 84 minutes. What if it goes down to 75 minutes? Do I stand here? Does lunch get pushed back? How about my lecture at 4 p.m.? It will take 12 minutes to walk to my car. Will I make it? What if I'm too late for my lecture and cannot find a parking space? As I am always there early enough to ensure I have a space. Then I will miss out on my lecture. Then I may have to walk into a room filled with students instead of an empty room where I can sit at the back before they all come in and look at me and will surely snigger at me for something I am doing that they will consider bizarre. I'm used to that now. All of that, sparked by my girlfriend not arriving at the agreed-upon time of 2 p.m. Part 2. The clash of perceptions. So then I am angry. I feel as if they are doing this deliberately. This is precisely because they said we weren't spending enough time together. How can the very thing for which you asked be treated with such disrespect? There is now a contradiction of terms. My time is not taken seriously. Now I take it personally. It is now 2:05 p.m. Hours of stress have now passed over me in just these few minutes. I am mentally exhausted. I have lost energy that I will need to focus on my lecture at 4 p.m. I see this as her fault. Why am I in this relationship? When they finally show up, they notice that I seem agitated. I don't mean to seem agitated, and I don't know what that means exactly, as I don't yet understand how to abstract my thought process into a box named by a specific emotional state. This was long before I had even started therapy in body language, what it meant and how to try and read it in others to some small degree. I was angry that I was asked why I was agitated. Was it not obvious that my time had been violated by the person who wanted more of it? That just made her look like a liar to me. Could I date a liar? This was too much. I needed to walk away. However, she was now calling me rude for walking away. How dare she do that? How can the victim now be attacked by the perpetrator? I go to reply to her, but she orders me not to talk over the top of her. All the while she continues with her string of insults, saying that I am rude and blunt. I was neither of those things. My words connect what I am thinking to the outside world. Hence, I am being punished for what I think. So my brain is rude? This person I am dating is a maniac. Since I am thinking this, I also say this to her. This makes logical sense to me, as I don't see a reason to hide my conclusion of her state of mind based upon my observations of her bizarre and aggressive actions after violating my time and the time we were supposed to be spending together. Part 3. The finality of misunderstanding. To avoid a scene, I think it is best that I leave. She follows me, still determined to continue with her shouting, which I now understand she wishes to do without me replying. Hence, I am now expected to be some dog that obeys her command. Somehow, she doesn't see it this way. I must maintain my composure as any reaction from me would surely not be tolerated by the public. This is not an intuitive understanding for an autist, as there is no understanding of the concept of how one appears, but as a teenager, I'd learned through myself shouting in public that it would not be tolerated, specifically if it were me shouting for some reason. Only years later would therapy teach me that it was due to society's perception of a larger-than-average male in an aggravated state and the perceived threat it imposes on the observers who don't know me personally and so wonder if they are in the presence of someone who could be a danger to them, even though this could never be the case with me. Anyway, getting in my car and calmly driving off, I was now less stressed by orders of magnitude. I could make my lecture, secure a parking space, have time to fill up the car even though it wasn't empty, so I had a buffer for a future day when I would have had time to fuel up the car. I would be able to sit at the back of the lecture hall before anyone showed up and so be at peace by not being in the view of neurotypicals who I know would snigger at me for some oddity I couldn't see about myself. I was now much calmer. There was no need for the relationship, apart from the fact that I missed what could have been a wonderful lunch, had the woman I loved shown up at the correct time. 30 minutes into the drive, she calls me. That was strange, as she was calling me as if no traumatic event had just occurred, and she was now talking to me about her day-to-day events. Had she suffered amnesia? I wondered. Had I imagined the event? Was my watch set too early and she had in fact arrived on time? I could not understand the motivation behind the call. Hence, I naturally asked, "What's up?" For some reason, this upset her. I was now being rude to her. I was completely perplexed. Calmly asking someone who is actually acting in an unrecognizable manner, "What's up?" was now rude? I tried to then ask in a way so much more politely that it could not have been rude. In this way, I was sure she would be grateful that I had now softened my tone. I then asked, "To what can I be of service?" She then took this to be a smart arse comment. Now I was being accused of being both rude and a smart arse, despite the fact that I was neither. Being accused of meaning things I didn't mean was the story of my life, from my own parents to school teachers to students. Now I was furious, deeply hurt, deeply offended, almost disgusted and disappointed that the person who apparently knew me better than most didn't know me at all. There was nothing I could do at that point but to hang up my phone. I would never talk to her again. I was fine with this. I'd been alone throughout school and home life, and I was still in my 20s. I had time to find the right person. Only 20 years later would I come to realize that there is no right person. I am still misunderstood in the exact same way but with different versions of the same stories. Now I choose to be mistreated by those close to me who forget that my mind is blind to many of their subtleties, and despite years of training and remarkable improvements, I am still a metaphorically colorblind person being ordered to see color. My other choice is to be now halfway through life and alone.